Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Now, for those of you who have subscribed, thank you very much. We are now in the third schedule discussing part I on chemical and petrochemical industries of all sizes and look at their emissions standard based on the Clean Air Regulations 2014. We have to identify whether or not our industry or our activity is listed in the first schedule. That is the first thing that we should do. Is our industry or activity listed here? If it is listed here, then the emission standard from our industry is here, third schedule. Now, this is discussing the emission standard coming from chemical and petrochemical industry of all sizes. The first word is chemical industry. The chemical industry listed here, if you look at it, it can be inorganic chemical. Inorganic chemical probably involving the making of, say, sulfuric acid, nitric acid. As you know, when it's organic, it contains carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Acetic acid is organic. Oleochemical from palm styrene, malic acid, stearic acid, and all this. These are all organic chemical. Now let's take a look at petrochemical. These are actually industries which is downstream from the oil and gas industry. According to this law, all sizes. So chemical and petrochemical industry, organic and inorganic, are subscribing to this law. Pharmaceutical, it could be packaging or blending, mixing to make drugs or other kinds of medications. When they are producing 5 tons or more of product per day, then they are subscribing to this particular schedule. However, if they are less than 5 metric tons per day in production throughput, then automatically they are subscribing to 4th and 5th schedule. Now these are the parameters. Hydrochloric acid fumes, milligram per cubic meter. What is the limit? Must be less than 200 milligram per cubic meter of sulfuric acid at all time. What if we can't comply? Then we got to ask for contravention license. The next parameter, nitrogen dioxide. Now, nitrogen dioxide shall be less than 700 milligram per cubic meter. The next one is ammonia. It's limited to 76 milligram per cubic meter at all time. And there is free chlorine, and it is limited to 32 milligram per cubic meter at all time. Sulfur dioxide is limited to 100 milligram per cubic meter. Nonetheless, there is one hazardous substance here, which is mercury. The unit is milligram per liter. Must be less than 0.05. That is very, very, very low. Hydrogen sulfide, limited to 7.5 milligram per cubic meter at all times. And total particulate matter from this industry is limited to 50 milligram per cubic meter. Simple. And all the fonts, the figures are in blue font. When the numerics that I display is in blue font, does not require any continuous emission monitoring system. It requires periodic monitoring system, and based on this regulation, it does not stipulate how often to do monitoring. So we got to refer to regulation 16, which says that monitoring, unless otherwise specified by this particular part, shall be done once a year, and no CEMS. New facilities for the production of chlorine or alkali using asbestos for the diaphragm or amalgam process are prohibited. For mixing and packaging of chemicals, pesticides, and pharmaceutical products with a capacity of equivalent to or more than 5 tons of product per day, total dust, including organic substances specified as hazardous as in the 5th schedule. Meaning, we have to add one more parameter here, total dust, for pharmaceutical mixing and packaging. Waste gases containing dust shall be collected at the place of origin and fed into a de-dusting system. Dust emissions in waste gas shall not exceed a minimum mass concentration of 5 mg per meter cube. Why do you have to say mass concentration? A chemist knows 5 mg per meter cube is concentration, and concentration is a mass over volume. Why do you have to say mass concentration? Dust emission with a composition of hazardous substances or prepared of 10% or more shall not exceed a maximum mass concentration in waste gas of 2 mg per cubic meter. And I believe if you're from this industry, please concentrate on all these items. And I have the feeling you have to add in the parameters like dust containing organic substances, all right, and dust containing hazardous substances. And I believe you have to refer to the 5th schedule. You got to add in on your table because it's not represented well in this particular law in the law book. So for chemical and petrochemical industry, what we can confirm now, CEMS is not required under the law. And if your dust contains hazardous substances, you got to list it down. But before you do that, you have to do a baseline study to check all the hazardous substances in the 5th schedule, whether you have any of them. If you have a list of them, you got to add in the list over here. Okay, that is based on the note given under Part I of 3rd schedule. So please liaise with the relevant authorities. So I thank you for the time. I apologize for any insufficient information that I have probably not shared with you. So thank you for the time. I hope this is a benefit to you. Till we meet again in the next video. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.